Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome at our press conference here in the European Parliament. Please note that interpretation will be available in the languages you see around. Bulgarian is 21, Ukrainian is number 12, for example. This press conference takes place just ahead of the first ordinary session of the Euronest Parliamentary Assembly, which will take place here in Strasbourg today and tomorrow, with the participation of 60 members of the European Parliament and 10 members of the parliaments from Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Moldova and Ukraine. Here we have with us the two co-presidents of this Euronest Parliamentary Assembly, Mr. Kristian Vigenin, member of the European Parliament from Bulgaria, also chairman of the European Parliament's delegation to the Euronest Parliamentary Assembly, and Mr. Boris Tarasyuk, chairman of the Ukrainian Parliament's Committee on European Integration, and he is also head of the Ukrainian delegation to the Euronest. First we will hear their statements and then you will have the possibility to ask questions. Mr. Vigenin, please.
Thank you. Welcome to our press conference. We'll have a quite tense agenda today and tomorrow because our ambition, the co-presidents of the Assembly and all the members of our Assembly, is to produce a clear result, ambitious report, which will be a basis for the Parliament presentation, for the parliamentary dimension presentation at the summit in Warsaw, and the Eastern Partnership Summit in Warsaw. You know that with a certain delay, the parliamentary dimension of the Eastern Partnership has been established in May this year, and we were very happy to have the opportunity now, before the Eastern Partnership Summit, to meet here in Strasbourg and to define the goals which we see important for the Eastern Partnership for the next period. We achieved, I must say, a high level of coherence in our views, both on the European Parliament side and on the side of the parliamentarians of the Eastern Partnership countries. And I expect to be able today and tomorrow to deliver a very strong message and clear message to the leaders of the European Union and the 6 Eastern Partnership countries. What we find important this year, in addition to our own work, is that the European Union has reviewed its neighbourhood policy in a way we see positive, but at the same time we would like to see more ambitious goals of the EU which concerns the eastern neighbours of the European Union. Since, as we underline in our draft report, even in the communication of the Commission, Article 49 of the EU Treaty is mentioned, which refers to the possible European prospects of the Eastern Partnership countries. We feel that the ongoing association agreement negotiations with the 5 countries should be accelerated, and we hope that the most advanced country, Ukraine, will be able to sign this agreement before the end of this year. Another topic which has been part of our discussions, both in the European Parliament and in the common bodies of the Assembly, is the political situation both on the south and on the east. We have certain concerns that the situation in the southern dimension of the neighbourhood policy may fully refocus the attention from east to south, and not only the political attention but also the financial support of the policies. However, we were assured by the European Commission, by the High Representative and Vice President of the Commission, Mrs. Ashton, by Mr. Lewandowski, who will, by the way, join us tomorrow morning for exchange of views, that there will be no refocus, let's say, of the attention, that the principle more for more will apply to all countries in the neighborhood, and those who deliver more related to democratic development, to economic reform, to reforms in the judiciary and so on, will achieve more support from the European Commission. And finally, one sensitive issue that we find central also in our work is to accelerate the process of visa liberalization with the aim to achieve as soon as possible also visa-free regime for the countries in the eastern dimension of the neighborhood policy, in the Eastern Partnership, because we feel that this is the way to achieve also the goals of the neighborhood, more direct contacts to the people of the countries, and to allow more exchange, more communication between the peoples of the European Union countries and the 5 countries of the Eastern Partnership. I have positive expectations, and it seems to me that finally we have a really working assembly. It has its first ordinary session now, and I'm sure that this ambition also of the members of this assembly to achieve more, to show more, to show the importance of this assembly will make possible that the issues related to the relations between European Union and the Eastern Neighbourhood countries will have more, will achieve more visibility and will be higher on the agenda also of the European Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vigenin. Mr. Tarasiuk, please.
Good morning to everybody. As a co-president from the Eastern European partner component, I would like to say that after the long process, sometimes very dramatic in terms of creating Eastern Partnership parliamentary dimension, we finally concluded this May this year. After May this year, we were in constant cooperation. First of all, the members of the Bureau, that is 2 co-presidents and vice presidents, in preparation of this first ordinary session of the Euronest Parliamentary Assembly. As a result of our joint work, which was not visible to everybody, we agreed in principle on a number of very important documents we are going to deliver during this today's and tomorrow session. First of all, we are going to approve at the plenary the report which we are going to submit to Eastern Partnership Summit in Warsaw, 29th, 23rd, 30th of September. I think that the draft is a very solid basis for the Parliamentary Assembly to approve it tomorrow. Also, we had a preliminary draft conclusions made by 4 major committees created by the Parliamentary Assembly of Euronest. That is the Political Committee, Economic Committee, the Committee on Energy Security and the Social Committee. Also, we expect to consider draft declaration on Belarus. So these are together with the major political recommendations made by the Political Committee mainly. We expect to approve major messages by the Parliamentary Assembly tomorrow. I would like to say that the work which preceded was quite intensive in terms of preparation of recommendations by the committees and the resolution of the Parliamentary Assembly. And at the same time, I would like to say that the work is still ahead of us. The final touches are going to take place today during the meetings of 4 committees, and the Bureau of the Parliamentary Assembly, Euronest Parliamentary Assembly, which is going to take place today. So we will have to make recommendations by the Bureau to the Parliamentary Assembly, and I hope that tomorrow's ordinary session of the Euronest Parliamentary Assembly will be a success one, thus demonstrating the ability of the parliamentary dimension of Eastern Partnership to produce a constructive and sometimes a demanding, I would say, approach to the structures of the European Union. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now the floor is yours. If there are any questions, please raise your hand. Before there are any questions, let me also draw your attention to that tomorrow the 2 co-presidents will also hold doorstep press point during the meeting. It's at 9:30 in the morning, just in front of the meeting room, which is in LOW N1.3. So it's here near here. Are there any questions, please?
TASS News Agency, Vladimir Shilov. My question is the so-called Tymoshenko affair. Are you concerned on this issue? Thank you.
Excuse me, what was the question?
Tymoshenko affair. Well, trial on Tymoshenko. Well, this question will be discussed during the Euronest session or not?
I don't know. Maybe since Mr. Tarasuk is from Ukraine, it's better that I take this question. Of course, in our discussions, both in the European Parliament, but also within the Euronest Assembly, we'll touch upon all the issues which are of concern for us. We always follow very closely the developments in the 6 Eastern Partnership countries, and we as you can see, even today, even this week in Strasbourg, we will issue an urgency declaration on Belarus, which is related to a specific case, again, of a political leader who was sentenced. We had recently such declaration of the European Parliament, I mean, also again on Belarus, on Azerbaijan. So we are ready to, despite the fact that we follow very closely the situation, we are ready to react if we see that the trial against Tymoshenko becomes a way of, how to say, of a political trial which is aimed at preventing a political leader to participate in the next elections in Ukraine. I'm sure that this topic will be touched upon in our discussions. However, we at this moment, I wouldn't say that we are ready to issue a specific statement on that case, since we're still waiting for the results of the investigation. But again, I say we follow very closely this case, and we are very concerned that it's not only, by the way, the case of Tymoshenko. There are other cases where we have our concerns that these trials are aimed to prevent political leaders from participating normally and actively in the political life of Ukraine. No responsibility of that kind should be taken for political decision, but at the same time we feel that a transparent investigation could take place, and again I say we follow all this very, very closely.
On my part, I would like to say that I'm going to speak in my two capacities. One capacity as the head of the Ukrainian Parliamentary National Delegation to Euronest Parliamentary Assembly, and another capacity as a member of the leadership of the opposition. In my first capacity, I would like to say that the Ukrainian delegation is not planning to include into an existing draft documents provisions concerning this trial. I do not exclude the possibility of some members of the delegation to raise this issue during the meeting, either of the political committee or of the plenary meeting. By the way, the Ukrainian delegation consists of representatives of different political factions, and it is being divided 50-50 by the representatives of the majority in the parliament and of the opposition. As the one who is among the leadership of the opposition, I would like to say that the case against Yulia Tymoshenko is obviously politically motivated. There is nothing legally grounded in this investigation, and I would like to refer you to the resolution of the European Parliament made here at the beginning of July, if I am not mistaken, in Strasbourg session, and also I would like to refer to the strong messages made by High Representative Ashton and Commissioner Füle. I expect that during these days Commissioner Füle will have a chance to talk to Ukrainian authorities during his stay in Yalta International Conference. I think that much will depend on the behavior of the Ukrainian authorities in this politically motivated case against Yulia Tymoshenko and other leaders of the opposition. We heard a very strong message recently by the head of the EU mission to Ukraine, who said that if the leaders of the opposition, as a result of these politically motivated proceedings, will be deprived of the right to participate in the political campaign of forthcoming parliamentary elections October next year. So this will be the reason for the European Union not to recognize the results of Ukrainian parliamentary elections. So the case is very serious, the situation is very serious, and from my point of view as a member of the opposition, this case may be indicative in the relationship between Ukraine and the European Union. And pending on the final verdict, I think that we, the members of the opposition, do expect the reaction from the European Union. Thank you.
Are there any other questions, please?
Sergei Voropaev, Ukrainian Union News Agency. I would like just to follow up a little bit this issue. Mr. Vigenin mentioned today the association agreements which are preparing between the European Union and Ukraine. We know that now the European Parliament is discussing the special resolution about this agreement, and there is some information even that because of this trial against Tymoshenko, the resolution could be delayed from next week to mid of November. In this context, I'm wondering how do you think if this trial could affect the relations between European Union and Ukraine? I mean probably the signing of association agreement and so on in practical terms. Thank you.
Well, I can give you my personal opinion on this issue, since there is no political decision of the European Parliament on that. There are different proposals, but for the moment the report in the Foreign Affairs Committee will follow the deadlines which are already established, so it should be voted beginning of October, if I'm not wrong. I think that, of course, this trial may influence the relations between Ukraine and European Union. But at the same time, since the negotiations on the association agreement are at the stage where, in my opinion, they should not be stopped. We should not prevent the entering into force of this association agreement as soon as possible, because otherwise it is the people of Ukraine that will be mostly affected of bigger delays in this and the entering into force of these agreements. That's why I say this trial may affect these relations, but at the same time it should not lead to delays in the already planned timetable for the association agreement.
I would like to add to what Kristian just said. To the best of my knowledge, the draft motion which was discussed the day before yesterday at AFET meeting will suggest some timetable which includes the deadline for the submission of amendments by 21st of October. And if I'm not mistaken, the resolution, the motion is going to be voted on 1st of November. So this will depend on the mood, prevailing mood in the European Parliament. As to factual situation around this association agreement, we expect the week starting next week, the next round of negotiations in Kyiv concerning association agreement and the part of free trade area. We may expect this is going to be the final stage, but I cannot say for sure whether this will be the final negotiation round. So should it be the case, everything will be ready for initiating this agreement by mid-December EU-Ukraine summit. But in any case, this will be influenced by the verdict the Ukrainian court may make against Yulia Tymoshenko. And I do not exclude that this may affect the timetable of the future work over the association agreement, including initialing, signing and the ratification procedure. Thank you.
All right, just an announcement. So I have very good news for journalists that the press point, which I was referring to before, will not be eventually at 9:30, but at 11:50 tomorrow. 11:50 in the morning, just in front of the meeting room. If there are any other questions, which is not the case, then thank you very much for your attention.